Welcome back to the series Religion and the Medieval Indian Rulers. In today's lecture, we would be dealing with the reign of Jahangir. In fact, amongst most of these Mughal rulers, starting from Babur down to Bahadur Shah Zafar, Jahangir is one of those who, although is considered to be one of the important rulers of the Mughal Empire, one of the main sovereigns. In spite of that, not much attention has been given to his reign. Unfortunately, because he is sandwiched between two great rulers, Akbar and Shah Jahan. So probably because of that reason, uh, the full attention has not been paid to him. Uh, One can say that a limited attention has been paid to the reign of Jahangir. However, in spite of the limitations, there are a number of works which have been done. For example, we can start with Beni Prasad, his important monograph on the life and reign of Jahangir. That is one of the basic works which has been done. But if you read it, it's a very traditional account where his birth, his childhood, his maturity, and then uh, his reign, certain of his political decisions, they have been dealt with. And there's hardly any discussion of any sort of policies or any other, uh, any type of theorizing or any in-depth study. Just a narrative on the, life of Jahangir. Um, a sympathetic one, of course, but a very insipid account of Jahangir's reign. Then we have people like S.R. Sharma, Shri Ram Sharma, um, his famous work, The Religious Policy of the Mughals, that has, you know, much information in a very traditional fashion, which has been given there. And remember that Shri Ram Sharma is also writing at a time when a number of sources, which now we have access to, they had not been discovered. But then credit goes to him that there he is trying to grapple with the religious policies, starting with Babur and coming down to Aurangzeb. And, a sizable section of the book is also dealt with a chapter on Jahangir. Works which uh, are more modern in their approach. Now, for example, we have a number of articles by one of the Aligarh historians, Professor M. Athar Ali. Although he didn't write a book, he wrote a book on Aurangzeb, but we have certain very important articles by M. Athar Ali, by Irfan Habib, dealing with the religious views of Jahangir. For example, M. Athar Ali has written, The Religious World of Jahangir. This is the title of a paper which was published in the Proceedings of the Indian History Congress in 1990. Similarly, there is another paper by Professor Irfan Habib, The Political Views of Sheikh Ahmad Sarindi and Shah Waliullah. It's again published in the Indian History Congress, and his views, which are there as far as Shah Waliullah is concerned, they are very incisive, and they have to be taken into consideration. However, the most important and you know most recent work, you can say, uh, that is by a French scholar, Corinne Lefebvre. Corinne Lefebvre has written several articles. At least two of them have been published in Jesho. For example, there is one very important article by her, uh, uh, recovering a missing voice from the Mughal Empire, which was published way back in 2007, which deals with the views of Jahangir. And then another article where she introduces one of the recently discovered sources of Jahangir's period. Uh, and that article was also published in the one of the issues of Jesho, but it was published in 2012, volume 55, which was published in 2012. And then only last year, 2019, she came out with a long-awaited, monograph or book on Jahangir. But unfortunately for us, it is still in French, and an English translation, she says, would be available soon. But so far, this work on Jahangir, which Lefebvre has done, is in the French language, and thus at the moment it is not possible for us to access. But whatever articles Lefebvre has written points out to the fact that there is a new approach or a fresh look on the reign of Jahangir, and because she has taken into account a new source which was recently discovered as one of the basic sources for understanding the history of Jahangir. So we presume that there is much new information which is available there, and I hope that Corinne Lefebvre very soon gets this work published into English, translated into English as well. Now, as far as the sources for Jahangir's period are concerned, we are fortunate that a number of them have also been translated into English, and they are easily available. For example, Tuzuke Jahangiri, the memoirs of Jahangir himself, that has been printed a number of times. They are available. Apart from that, we have Kamgar Hussaini's Maasir-e Jahangiri. That work, although not translated probably, but has been edited, and the edited and published Maasir-e Jahangiri is available almost in all the libraries which you can consult. And then, of course, Mu'tamad Khan, another very crucially important source for Jahangir's reign, Iqbal Nama-e Jahangiri. These are some of the traditional sources which are available for the reign of Jahangir. But a few years back, a new source was discovered in Lahore, but was published from Iran, and that is a work by a person known as Abdul Sattar Lahori, and the work is known as Majalis-e Jahangiri. This is, as the title suggests, deals with certain sessions which were held, nightly sessions, which were held by Jahangir. And these sessions actually were held between 1608 and 1611. That is the account of this period, 1608 to 1611. These are the nightly reports of the discussions which were being carried out. Um, just like Akbar had been holding Ibadat Khana discussions, so similar discussions were being held during the reign of Jahangir, and this Majalis-e-Jahangiri is an account by Abdul Sattar Lahori, but deals with around 10 15 majalis only. Not, but then it gives us information sometimes which was not available in any of the sources. Now, as far as this Majalis Jahangiri is concerned, that has been taken into account by a number of modern historians. They have paid attention to it. For example, one of the first articles to have been written on it was by Sanjay Subramaniam, who did an article on this and tried to look towards, Jahangir and his understanding of the Jesuits and their way of thinking. That hardly concerns with the Indian issues, but Sanjay Subramaniam has basically dealt it from the point of view of the Jesuits who were there in the court of Jahangir. Apart from Sanjay Subramaniam, a few articles based on Majalis-e-Jahangiri were written from the Indian perspective. The type of information which was contained in Majalis-e-Jahangiri regarding the understanding of the Mughals themselves. And among them, those authors who have written very pioneering papers on this issue is Professor Shirin Nuswi. She has done a paper on this, in fact, introduced this source to the Indian audience. Then Corinne Lefebvre herself, she has a beautiful paper introducing this source. Najaf Haider, our colleague in JNU, he has also, written a paper. And then one of my colleagues, a junior colleague in the Department of History, Dr. Riaz Ahmed, he has also written certain brief articles dealing with certain matters which are there in the Majalis-e-Jahangiri. There are at least, and then of course there are certain other people who have used the information now. Now this source is gradually becoming available to other historians as well. But these are some of the pioneering works which have tried to understand the period of Jahangir, his religious views, and the perspective of Jahangir as reported by and found in this new Persian source, which deals with certain discussions, overnight discussions, which were organized by Jahangir. With this brief introduction about the reading material and sources for Jahangir's reign, let us come to the topic itself. Now, as far as this topic, religion and Jahangir is concerned, there is some controversy. When we were dealing with Akbar, I tried to point out that generally speaking, most of the historians, they think that Akbar was secular throughout his reign. And in 2 lectures, we tried to see that actually that was not so. There were certain phases in his life when he was rapidly communal. There were certain phases in life when he was, in fact, dabbling with the religion. And then ultimately came a stage in his life when he started following the policy of Solekul. And once he started following the policy of Solekul, There was no looking back. Now, as far as Jahangir is concerned, then again, there again, we have two points of views which come out if you read the works of modern historians. Now, one of the basic questions which have been raised by the historians is that was Jahangir actually following the policy of Akbar? Was he, like Akbar, a proponent of the policy of Sulekul? Was he following, in other words, a liberal policy? Or do we find that he shifted towards the orthodoxy? There is a group of historians who believe that with the accession of Jahangir, there was, in fact, an attempt to move towards orthodoxy. There was a Muslim group within the nobles who, in fact, sided with Jahangir and facilitated that he succeeds. It's on, you know the controversy that at the time when Akbar was ill and was at his old age, there was some difference of opinion between his son Salim, who later on became the king, and the ruler. We know that Salim had also revolted against his father. But we also know that at a time when Akbar was quite ill and was on his deathbed, when Salim went to his father to meet him, Akbar, in fact, pointedly, told the nobles that he is the next king, and the succession then was quite smooth. But there was some difference between the two. And certain historians, both of India and Pakistan, they tried to argue that at least if not in later periods, at least at the time when accession took place, there was a tendency to go back towards religion. In fact, people like R.P. Tripathi, one of the traditional historians, whom I forgot to name earlier, he thinks that Jahangir's accession to the throne represents the reversal of Akbar's liberal policy. Tripathi went on to write that Jahangir had been brought to the throne by certain nobles on the very condition that he would restore the Orthodox Islam, which had been harmed during the reign of his father. तो जो पर्पस था जिसलिए वो आए थे, आरपी त्रिपाठी ने ये अपनी किताब में आर्ग्यू किया कि जहांगीर को कुछ उनके नोबल्स ने साथ दिया और उनको बादशाह बनाया इस एश्योरेंस पे कि वो आके इस इस्लाम को दोबारा से बहाल करेंगे उसकी पोजीशन पे, जो एक इन्फ्लुएंस हिंदुओं को और राजपूतों का और जो एंटी इस्लामिक ग्रुप का जो अकबर के पीरियड में बढ़ गया था, उसको दूर करके दोबारा से इस्लाम की ऑर्थोडॉक्स इस्लाम को कायम करेंगे. दैट इज व्हाट आरपी त्रिपाठी इज राइटिंग. ही इज नॉट अलोन. नाउ देयर इज वन पाकिस्तानी हिस्टोरियन, हिंदुस्तान में वो ज्यादा नहीं जाने जाते हैं, बट he was quite influential once upon a time in Pakistan, among the Pakistani historians. Sheikh Muhammad Ikram. Now, Sheikh Ikram, in fact, is a very prolific writer. इनके बारे में अगर आपको ज़्यादा डिटेल देखना है तो आप उनको विकिपीडिया पे भी उनके बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन पढ़ा. यू कैन गूगल अबाउट शेख इकराम. इनफैक्ट शेख इकराम की एक दो जो राइटिंग्स हैं वो भी अब इंटरनेट पे मौजूद हैं, एंड यू कैन मुगल एम्पायर पे अगर आप गूगल सर्च कीजिएगा तो इकराम की राइटिंग्स आपको मिल जाएंगी पढ़ने के लिए. नाउ शेख मोहम्मद इकराम wrote uh, a series of 3 books in Urdu. The first of them was known as Aab-e Kausar. The second was known as Rood-e Kausar. And the third was known as Mauj-e Kausar. Aab-e Kausar, the first book in the series, Kausar, you know, is the fountain of the sacred water or life in the heavens, जिसका नेक्टर, जिसका पानी जन्नत को जाके मुसलमान को मिलेगा, तो दैट्स अ सीक्रेट वेल एंड वाटर. तो आप कहते हैं पानी, दरिया, आब-ए कौसर. Now this is the first work which deals with the period 711 to 1526. In other words, the coming of Islam into India up till the coming of the Mughals. That is the time span of this book in Urdu, Aab-e Kausar. Rood-e Kausar, the second book, that deals with the period from Babur, that is 1526, down to 1800. The start of the colonial period, you can say. वो औरंगजेब पे नहीं खत्म करते हैं, बल्कि 1800 तक. प्लासी पे भी नहीं आते, वो 1800 को पढ़ना है. So that would be the Rood-e Kausar, in which Sheikh Mohammad Ikram gives his views. और जो last work है इनका, Mauj-e Kausar, that deals with the period 1800 down to the creation of Pakistan, 1947. So naturally, if you are interested in looking at his views about Jahangir, so then in that condition, it is Rood-e Kausar, which in fact notes his points of view. And this whole thing which R.P. Tripathi has written is elaborated greatly in this work of Sheikh Muhammad Ikram. According to Sheikh Muhammad Ikram, as well as according to R.P. Tripathi, and then this is also mentioned in Sri Ram Sharma as well, that, you know, at the time of the accession, it was the influence of Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi. There was a section of the nobles, nobles of Akbar, who supported Salim, who were in fact the disciples of Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi. You know that Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi had the title of Mujaddid al-Fasani, the innovator of the second millennium. ये वो थे कि जो इस्लाम में 1000 साल पूरे हो गए थे, अब नए एक इनोवेटर की जरूरत थी जो एक नए तालीम दे, उसको नए तरीके से अमल में लाए. तो वो शेख अहमद सरीदी ने अपने को क्लेम किया था. तो Sheikh Muhammad Ikram says that there were a large number of supporters of Sheikh Ahmad who followed this policy. और Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi का एक व्यू पॉइंट था, we will deal with it later also, that he wanted to do away with all heretical influences on Islam, और इस्लाम को अपने प्योर फॉर्म में, जैसा कि रसूलुल्लाह, क्योंकि 1000 साल आते आते इस्लाम में बहुत मिक्सिंग हो गई थी, बहुत सी चीजें, इन्फ्लुएंसेस जो खराब इन्फ्लुएंसेस थे, ईरान से शियों का इन्फ्लुएंस आ गया था, हिंदुस्तान में हिंदुओं को इन्फ्लुएंस आ गया था और कितना बुरा था अकबर के उसने राजपूतों को अपने साथ मिला के ले लिया था, एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फॉर्थ. All those views uh, we discussed. I think some of them we'll discuss them again. बस एक चीज इसमें बताता चलूं. For example, Sheikh Ahmad Sirindi tried to argue, and Akbar, by recruiting them in large numbers, did something which was very harmful to Islam. Similarly, Akbar's policy of having the Iranians, the Shias, the heretics, that was also very mulhid को साथ लेना है. कुफार और मुल्हिद, काफिर और मुल्हिद दोनों जो थे वो इस्लाम में आके एक इंसिडेंटली, मालूम नहीं मैंने आपको पिछले लेक्चर में बताया था कि नहीं बताया था, शेख अहमद सिंधी का कहना ये था कि अगर आप किसी हिंदू या शिया के साथ मिल के बैठ के खाना खाएंगे तो आप ऐसे करेंगे जैसे आप कुत्ते की प्लेट पे बैठ के खाना खा रहे हैं. ये उनके व्यूज थे. और एक प्योरिटी ऑफ इस्लाम, बैक टू द origins of Islam, fundamentals of Islam, that was his Mujaddidiyya movement. And in order to do that, we have referred to earlier in the earlier lectures also, that he had written a large number of letters to his followers, where he tried to percolate his teachings, जहाँ पे अपने views को इन्होंने mention किया. Now, among those nobles who started following these precepts of Sheikh Ahmad Sirindi, the author of Rude Kausar, Sheikh Ikram, as well as R.P. Tripathi and others, they argued that one of the main supporters among the nobles of Akbar was a person known as Sheikh Farid Murtaza Khan. He was a grandee and he was one of the chief supporters of Sheikh Ahmad Sirindi, a chief disciple of Sheikh Ahmad Sirindi, and he started supporting, along with his other fellow nobles, the cause of Jahangir. और cause क्या था? वो यही था कि दोबारा से purity of Islam, the ascendancy of Islam को कायम किया. Now, the argument which Sheikh Ikram started developing, there are 3 points which he, in this regard, tries to develop, followed by Tripathi and others. That Jahangir, to gain the support of these nobles, this group of the Mujaddidiyas and others who were supporting the viewpoint of Islam, gave his pledge that he would support the cause of Islam. अगर बादशाह बना दिए गए और वो थ्रोन पे बैठ गए अकबर के बाद, तो इस्लाम की अहमियत को वो बहाल कर दिया. That was the first point which was argued. The second point which Ikram tried to argue was that we do see that after Jahangir's accession, Murtaza Khan, Sheikh Farid, in fact, was able to get a higher position. And he was able to get a higher position because he was furthering the cause of the Muslim party. अब ये कहाँ से ये लाए? अब ये तो सोर्सेस तो ऐसा नहीं बताते, लेकिन शेख इकराम ये कहते हैं कि साहब उसका एक जो इंकलिंग है कि शाहजहां ने, वो जहांगीर ने इनकी बात मान ली थी कि जैसे ही उन्होंने इनका सपोर्ट किया और इन्होंने वादा किया, जहांगीर ने इनको उठाना शुरू कर दिया। और इनके पास क्योंकि सपोर्ट थी मुसलमानों की, तो ये जो थे एक तरीके से जहांगीर के एक्सेशन के फौरन बाद बहुत प्रोमिनेंट पोजीशन पे निकल के सामने आते हैं और जहांगीर इनके कॉज को फर्दर करते हैं। थर्डली, शेख फरीद मुर्तजा खान was very actively involved in the destruction of the heresies of the non-Muslims and others. जो हेरेसीज फैली हुई थी मुलिदों की तरफ से, शियों की तरफ से, हिंदुओं की तरफ से, उनको खत्म करने में बड़ा एक्टिव रोल शेख फरीद मुर्तजा खान का। और वो जो थे उनके ऊपर वो किसके थ्रू काम कर रहे थे? शेख अहमद सरिंदी के इन्फ्लुएंस। शेख अहमद सरिंदी तो सूफी आदमी थे, तो वो डायरेक्ट लीड नहीं कर रहे थे, वो तो एक तरीके से बिहाइंड द सीन लीडर थे, और उनके जानिब से जो आगे आगे थे, जो काम कर रहे थे, वो मुर्तजा थे, शेख फरीद मुर्तजा। That is the type of argument which was developed, and it was argued that when Jahangir ascended the throne, suddenly जो सुलेकुल की पॉलिसी या जो पॉलिसीज अकबर ने फॉलो की थी, they started getting negated. That was the argument which was developed, and we find a reflection of that in a number of textbooks even till date. Now, if you look into the matter a little deeply, things appear to be not that simple. Sheikh Farid, for example, take him. Sheikh Farid, during the last period of Akbar's reign, at the time when Jahangir ultimately succeeds to the throne, he was the Mir Bakhshi. Mir Bakhshi काफी important position. And as Mir Bakhshi, he confided with Akbar, दोनों ने मिलके एक दूसरे को कॉन्फिडेंस लेके एक प्लान बनाया था. Both of them, Akbar and Mir Bakhshi, Murtaza Khan, they wanted to further the Hindu festivals like Dasahra. अगर वो शेख अहमद के इन्फ्लुएंस पे थे और हिंदू इन्फ्लुएंस खत्म करना चाह रहे थे, तो अकबर के पीरियड में वो अकबर के साथ मिलके जो हिंदू फेस्टिवल्स थे उनको क्यों प्रमोट कर रहे थे? There can be a question regarding that. As I said, that these are the arguments which have been built. अगर आप फैक्चुअली उसको स्टडी करें तो ऐसा कुछ नजर नहीं आता. Secondly, when at a time when Man Singh and Mirza Aziz Koka, both of them endeavored for the succession of Khosrow, who was Khosrow was the son of Jahangir, who at one point of time Akbar wanted to succeed. And Khosrow had rebelled against his own father because he wanted to take up the kingship. और शुरू के जो पीरियड है जहांगीर जिस वक्त बादशाह बनता है, one of the first acts which he does is to crush the rebellion of Khosrow. और खुसरो को सपोर्ट कौन कर रहे हैं? मान सिंह and Mirza Aziz Koka. At that particular moment of time, Sheikh Farid, along with Motamad Khan, were siding with Prince Ali. They were siding with Jahangir that he should become the king as against the claims of Khosrow. फाइन, ठीक है, यहां तक आप कह सकते हैं कि हाँ भाई, जो एक क्लेम है जो किया गया है रूबे कौसर में और आबे कौसर में के शेख अहमद के इन्फ्लुएंस में आके या किसी के इन्फ्लुएंस में आके शेख फरीद जो थे वो जहांगीर का साथ दे रहे थे क्योंकि उनको इस्लाम को आगे बढ़ाना था। तो अब इस्लाम को बढ़ाना था कि नहीं बढ़ाना था ये तो नहीं साफ होता, लेकिन ये जरूर मालूम है कि वो जो थे जिस वक्त मिर्जा अजीज कोका और मान सिंह जहांगीर पीरियड, he was one of the confidants of जहांगीर, तो उनके साथ मिलके वो जहांगीर का साथ दे रहे थे, दैट इज अ फैक्ट। बट देन वन थिंग व्हिच is not explained is that both Mirza Aziz Koka and Sheikh Farid, both of them were, if you believe the Mujaddidiya, claims, if you believe what Sheikh Ikram and other supporters of Sheikh Ahmad are claiming, then if you believe what they say, then it appears that both Mirza Aziz Koka and Sheikh Farid, both of them were disciples of Sheikh Ahmad Sarif. And Sheikh Farid was also being supported by a Rajput. सलीम के सपोर्टर्स में थे, उन्हीं के साथ शेख फरीद के साथ एक और साहब थे जो एक राजपूत थे, एंड ही वाज रामदास कछवा। अगर मान सिंह उधर खड़े हुए थे खुसरो के साथ, तो शेख फरीद के साथ सलीम के फेवर में, सलीम को एम्परर बनाने के फेवर में राम सिंह कछवा भी खड़े हुए थे, तो राजपूत थे। उधर भी राजपूत थे, उधर भी मुस्लिम नोबल्स थे, इधर भी राजपूत थे, इधर भी मुस्लिम रूलर्स थे। तो ये जो आपस में खुसरो और जहांगीर की जो टसल है, इसको आप किसी रिलीजियस पैमाने में नहीं देख सकते, क्योंकि एक्चुअली अगर शेख इकराम की या इन लोगों की बात मानी जाए तो ऐसा लगता है कि जो मुस्लिम पार्टी थी वो शेख सलीम, अब तो वो प्रिंस सलीम का साथ दे रहे थे, ऐसा नहीं नजर आता है। एक्चुअल फैक्ट में बोथ राजपूत एंड नॉन राजपूत, बोथ मुस्लिम्स एंड हिंदूज वर सपोर्टिंग बोथ द प्रिंसेस, कुछ इधर कुछ उधर। देयर वाज नो रिलीजियस डिवाइड एज फार एज द फैक्ट्स ऑफ द मैटर आर कंसर्न्ड। In fact, there is a letter of Sheikh Ahmad Sirindi, which is included in the Maktubat Imam Rabbani. Maktubat Imam Rabbani is the compilation of the letters written by Sheikh Ahmad Sirindi to his followers. Now, in this Maktubat, in volume 1, in fact, letter number 47 in the collection, letter number 47 of the first volume, there is a letter where the death of Akbar is hailed. खुशी का इजहार कि अकबर मर गया, and Akbar is mentioned as the obstructor to the kingdom of Islam. के ये मेंशन है कि जो इस्लाम की हुकूमत को सजाने में ऑब्स्ट्रक्ट करने वाला, अड़चन डालने वाला अकबर था जो मर गया। और जहांगीर कौन है? In that letter, Sheikh Ahmad in fact claims that Jahangir or Prince Ali, as he was at that moment of time, Badshah-e-Islam. अगर ये इस्लाम के लिए थे, बादशाह इस्लाम थे, अकबर जो थे वो एंटी इस्लाम थे, प्रो हिंदू थे, तो फिर ये राजपूत इधर क्या कर रहे थे? राजपूतों को तो उधर होना चाहिए था, सारे राजपूतों को जाहिर है, और मुसलमानों को इधर होना चाहिए था। लेकिन ये बादशाह इस्लाम है, लेकिन राम सिंह कछवाहा इनके साथ है। अकबर की सपोर्ट फॉर एग्जाम्पल शुरू में रजामंदी जो है वो खुसरो के लिए है, तो सिर्फ राजा मानसिंह ही नहीं खुसरो का साथ दे रहे हैं, मिर्जा अजीज कोका। मिर्जा अजीज कोका को नहीं मालूम था कि बादशाह इस्लाम कौन है और इस्लाम का दुश्मन कौन है। तो क्लेम जरूर शेख अहमद सरिंदी रखते, विल कम टू द क्लेम्स ऑफ शेख अहमद लेटर ऑन, बट दिस इज द आर्गुमेंट। In fact, Sheikh Ikram, basing on these letters, a series of letters which are there in the Maktubat Imam Rabbani, the collection of the letters written by Sheikh Ahmad Sarindi, speaks that there was a jirga, JIRGA, jirga. ये टर्म आपने अफगानिस्तान के सिलसिले में भी सुना होगा, जो ग्रुप्स हैं वहां के ऊपर जो फाइट कर रहे हैं, जो क्लैन्स हैं, जिरगा। जिरगा इन फैक्ट मीन्स अ ग्रुप, a group. So Ikram says that there was a jirga, a group of nobles who were Mutiyul Islam, the party of Islam. And this party of Islam succeeded with the succession of Jahangir. Now, before we go further, let us deal with such claims which are made in the Maktubat Imam Rabbani. Now, there is an article which has been written by Irfan Habib, the political role of Sheikh Ahmad Sarindi and Shah Waliullah of Delhi. You Google search for it. Remember that in these COVID-19 days, the J Store, one of the repositories of all the valuable, important research papers, that is free, available. वैसे तो आप नहीं डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं, आप सिर्फ उस पर रेफरेंस देख सकते हैं, लेकिन आजकल उसको फ्री कर रखा है, तो यू गो टू जे स्टोर, JSTOR, जे स्टोर, और जे स्टोर के सर्च इंजन में you give the title Irfan Habib, so all the articles of Irfan Habib which are there on JSTOR, they would come, then you can click on it and download it. So there is this article, political role of Shah Waliullah. Now the political role of Sheikh Ahmad Sarindi and Shah Waliullah, which is there. And now in this article, there is a whole argument which Irfan Habib gives. He says that although there are a large number of letters which have been written by Sheikh Ahmad to various nobles, there is no doubt, फला को भी लिखा, फला को भी लिखा, उसमें बहुत से ऐसे लेटर्स हैं जो शेख फरीद के नाम है. दैट इज व्हाई शेख इकराम उनको चीफ डिसाइपल कहते हैं. तो बहुत से लेटर हैं जो इनके नाम कि शेख अहमद आप ये कीजिए, और शेख फरीद आप ये कीजिए, और शेख फरीद आप ये कीजिए, और आपके क्या मिजाज हैं, और देखिए हमने ये किया है. ऑल सॉर्ट ऑफ लेटर्स. But Irfan Habib asks a very pertinent question. Did ever any of these nobles reply back to शेख अहमद सिरंजी? लेटर तो आप कह रहे हैं कि आपने लिखा था, कोई जवाब भी मिला आपको? भाई हो सकता है कि आपने लेटर लिखा और लिख के अपने पास रख लिया, आपने भेजेंगे, क्योंकि अगर भेजा होता तो कोई जवाब भी होता। और ये भी पॉसिबल है कि आपने तो लेटर लिखा, यू डिड सेंड लेटर्स, लेकिन जिसको आपने लेटर लिखा था उसने उसकी अहमियत ही नहीं समझी। ऐसे ऐसे लेटर्स तो ब्यूरोक्रेट्स के पास और नोबल्स के पास और रूलर्स के पास और गवर्नर्स के पास तो आते ही रहते हैं। जाने कितने लेटर आए, आपने कोने में डाल दिया, पढ़ने की भी जहमत नहीं की, पढ़ भी लिया तो कौन जवाब दे? हाँ, पागल आदमी को लिखना है लिखना। अरे जब हम जैसे छोटे छोटे लोग जब कुछ कुर्सी में बैठते हैं तो 50 टाइप के लोगों की तरफ से मुरासले आते हैं, कुछ का जवाब देते हैं, बाकी जाने कितने आते हैं कोई पूछता नहीं। तो इरफान अभी आस्क कि अगर ये इन्फ्लुएंस पे थे तो फिर तो इनकी तरफ से भी तो कोई रिस्पॉन्स होना चाहिए था ना। क्या एविडेंस है? इन्होंने तो कहा, नो डाउट वो मौजूद, लेकिन उसका असर उन लोगों पे क्या पड़ा जिनको ये लेटर लिखे गए थे? डिड दे एक्चुअली बिलीव इन व्हाट शेख अहमद हैड written? Irfan Habib tries to argue that because there is no reply, there is no guarantee that they were ever under the influence of Sheikh Ahmad. कहीं कोई कहीं पे तो इनके इनके इन लोगों के बारे में दे आर ग्रैंडीज ऑफ द एम्पायर, इनके भी मकतूबात सरवाइव कर रहे हैं, इनकी भी राइटिंग सरवाइव कर रही है, इनके बारे में भी हिस्ट्रीज में लिखा जा रहा है। कहीं कोई ऐसा चीज मिल जाती तो लगता कि हाँ, जो इन्होंने कहा था वो इन्होंने किया। But there is no such response which we get. Secondly, Irfan Habib tries to argue that Sheikh Ahmad Ikram is also wrong to say that after the accession of Jahangir, Sheikh Farid Murtaza Khan had his position enhanced. कोई फायदा हुआ था शेख फरीद मुर्तजा खान को जहांगीर को बादशाह बना के? पार्टी थे ना, ये शेख इब्राहिम ने कहा कि इन्होंने इनका साथ दिया, उन्होंने इनको बनाया। Irfan Habib tries to show that actually there is no enhancement in the position of, in fact, the type of position which Murtaza Khan Sheikh Farid was holding was much inferior to a large number of other nobles in the court. तो ये भी जो शेख इकराम ने आर्ग्यू किया वो भी ठीक है। Now it is not only Irfan Habib who tries to argue that. I would give aside some other historian also who in no way supports any of the contentions of Professor Irfan Habib. इरफान हबीब को तो आप कह सकते हैं कि वो एक पर्टिकुलर व्यू पॉइंट को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं, एक पर्टिकुलर एजेंडा है, साहब उन्होंने तो यूं कह दिया। बट देन देयर आर अदर हिस्टोरियंस। फॉर एग्जांपल, देयर इज अ हिस्टोरियन नोन एज रफाकत अली खान। रफाकत अली खान, again a very senior historian, no doubt, who has worked on the Rajput nobility, pioneering work which he has done. He has not only a series of articles but also a book, important book on the Rajput nobility under the Mughals. Now, he also argues that Jahangir did not reverse the policy of Akbar. The policy of Akbar, especially vis-a-vis the Rajputs. Remember that Rajputs are the Hindus. और अगर जहांगीर एक प्रो मुस्लिम पॉलिसी फॉलो करने जा रहे हैं तो the natural corollary would be that the Rajputs would suffer. But what he finds is that the Rajput policy of Jahangir remains almost at the same level as it was at the Akbar. In fact, there are many more marriage and political alliances of Jahangir with non-Muslims. हाँ, ये जरूर है कि अकबर का कछवाहों के साथ ज्यादा ताल्लुक था. जहांगीर के पीरियड में बुंदेलास and others. For example, look at the work of Afzal Hussain, the nobility under Jahangir. Try to look at the tables and charts which he has tried to make as far as the nobility, the constitution of the nobility and the Jahangir is concerned. He very ably tries to argue that the position of the Rajputs in fact got enhanced instead of suffering. The only thing is that there were certain other new houses of the Rajputs who were preferred over the old houses of the Rajputs who had been preferred under Akbar. घरों का फर्क हो गया, clans और families का फर्क हो गया, लेकिन जहां तक राजपूतों का नॉन मुस्लिम्स का सवाल था वो उसी तरीके से प्रोमिनेंट रहे. यही आर्गुमेंट रफाकत अली खान का है, यही आर्गुमेंट अफजाल हुसैन साहब. एंड बोथ दीज पीपल गो ऑन टू शो कि एक्चुअली जो कोई भी एंटी हिंदू, रिमेंबर मैंने एक आपको जुमला पढ़ के बताया था कि अगर राजपूतों के साथ हिंदुओं के साथ खाना खाएंगे तो ऐसा होगा जैसे कुत्तों के प्लेट पे आप खाना खा रहे हैं. लेकिन वो कुत्ते जिनकी प्लेट पे खाना खाने के आप कह रहे हैं वो तो वहीं के वहीं है जहां थे. क्या फर्क पड़ गया जहांगीर के आने के बाद? इनफैक्ट these all type of theories which were being built were all wishful thinkings. There was no change, no shift. In fact, at the time when Khusro's rebellion took place, we find Jahangir. Read his tuzuk. Read Iqbal Nama. In fact, Jahangir kept on reminding those who were fighting against Khusro and supporting the cause of Jahangir never to forget the principles of Deen-e-Ilahi of Akbar. वो तो मुस्तकिल जो बात कर रहे हैं वो दीन-ए-इलाही की बात कर रहे हैं. वो ये नहीं कह रहे हैं कि अगर खुसरो और पार्टी जो थी वो अकबर की पॉलिसीज पे थी, जहांगीर उसके अगेंस्ट में इस्लाम की पार्टी बन के आए थे, तो फिर अपने साथियों से ये उस पार्टी की क्यों बात कर रहे हैं? अकबर के दीन-ए-इलाही के प्रिंसिपल्स को क्यों याद दिला रहे हैं? अल्लाह अकबर के नारे को क्यों याद दिला रहे हैं? उस शमसा और तबगा को क्यों याद दिला रहे हैं? उन मुरीदों को क्यों याद दिला रहे हैं? So it appears, as I probably by now you must have understood, that this view that at the time when Jahangir comes to the throne, there was a reversal of the religious views. There was, a discrimination against the non-Muslims, favor of the Muslim towards the Muslim nobles. That is almost a myth, if nothing else. Nothing of that sort appears to have happened if you read the actual sources of the people. However, there are certain things which changed with the coming of Jahangir to power. There is no doubt Jahangir was not Akbar. इससे पहले कि मैं आगे बढ़ूं, वैसे एक एग्जांपल आपको देता हुआ फिर आगे मैं एक या दो एग्जांपल जो फेवर कर रही है इस पॉइंट का, जिसको मैं निगेट करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं. Now there is a statement of two very well-known people of that period. Statements, you can say. One by Qazi Nurullah Shustari, the Shia divine, a very well-known Shia divine of Akbar's period, who was ultimately executed under Jahangir. Qazi Nurullah, who had migrated around 1585 from Iran to Hindustan, had come to the court of Akbar, had been sent by Akbar on an assignment to Kashmir, had been made the Qazi-e-Lashkar, the judge of the army at Lahore. He had also become the Qazi of certain other places, a prominent person, a person who is praised by Mullah Abdul Qadir Badayuni for his knowledge. In fact, regarding Qazi Nurullah Shustari, Mullah Abdul Qadir Badayuni, after giving a passage, a pura paragraph hai, where he praises the insightfulness, the uprightness, and the way he deals with his judgments. Qazi Nurullah Shustari. The last sentence, however, जो मुल्ला अब्दुल कादिर बदायूनी लिखते हैं काजी नूरुल्लाह के बारे में, वले के शिया भी, सारी अच्छाइयां अपनी जगह पे, लेकिन ये के शिया थे. Now Qazi Nurullah Shustari, as I had tried to argue when I was dealing with Akbar, that had come up with a viewpoint. In fact, he had held a series of arguments with other theologians, Shia theologians of his period, that taqiyya is not necessary in the reign of Akbar. ये एक just ruler है, Akbar जो है, he praises Akbar like anything. That he is a just ruler, and during his reign, everyone has the right to follow his religion. And thus there is no need to hide one's faith. Shiyo mein ek cheez hoti hai which is known as taqiyya. That if there is some, threat to life, you can hide your religion. There is no need to openly profess your religion if there is a threat to life. That is known as taqiyya. Qazi Nurullah tried to argue under Akbar that Akbar being a just ruler, there is no need of that. That he is arguing just before 1605, just before Akbar's death. Lekin ab, around 1609 or 10, a few years after, in fact, Qazi Nurullah Shustari was executed in 1611. We'll come to that. So before his execution, जो execution 11 में हुई है, तो तकरीबन 1610 या 1609 या 1608, something like that. And remember that Jahangir comes to the throne in 1605. So in the very initial years of Jahangir's reign, Qazi Nurullah now says that he doesn't want to live anymore in the Mughal Empire, wants to return back to Iran, his native place. हर मुमकिन कोशिश करते हैं कि यहाँ से छुट्टी मिल जाए, चले जाए. And he writes that Hindustan is Hinda Jigar Khwara. हिंद अब वो हिंद नहीं है जो पहला था, जिसमें हर एक को आजादी थी, खुली हुई एटमॉस्फेयर था, एक जस्ट रूलर था, बल्कि हिंद जो है अब उसके मानिंद है, उसकी तरीके से है, उस औरत के तरीके से है जिसने रसूल के चचा की जान ली थी और रसूल के चचा आके कलेजे को चबाया था. हिंदा जिगर ख्वारा. So we know that something had changed. There was some, in spite of the fact that what I have tried to argue, there was certain something which was amiss during this period that Qazi Nurullah Shustari जो अब तक तारीफ करते आए थे, he started feeling persecuted during this period. Not only that, but there is another prominent person during this period, Nematullah Harvi. Nematullah Harvi is in fact the celebrated author of Makhzan-e Afghani. Makhzan-e Afghani, that is a source which deals with this period. And he writes, Nematullah Harvi writes that under Jahangir, there was a renewal of Islam. Renewal of Orthodox Islam. And there was a renewal in the sense that mosques once again started flourishing. Khanqahs became crowded. Madrasas were active. And all these places, mosques, khanqahs and madrasas, became prominent once again, and all these had declined during the reign of Akbar. तो एक तरफ शेख अहमद के फॉलोअर्स का एक स्टेटमेंट है जिसको थोड़ा सा हम लोगों ने काउंटर करने की कोशिश की, और वो सिर्फ शेख अहमद की उन राइटिंग्स पर नहीं है जिनको मैंने काउंटर किया, चलिए उनको काउंटर कर दें, लेकिन ये सब राइटिंग्स भी मौजूद हैं जो उसी पीरियड की हैं. ये भी उसी बात को आर्ग्यू कर रहे हैं कि जहांगीर के पीरियड में एक तरीके से कुछ हुआ था जिसकी बेसिस के ऊपर रिलीजन बिकेम वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और इतना इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया था कि काजी नूरुल्लाह जैसा आदमी जो था वो सफोकेटेड फील कर रहा था. अल्टीमेटली वो executed. In spite of all this, there are a large number of other informations, contrary informations, evidences which are contrary to what Nematullah or Qazi Nurullah or the letters of Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi are pointing towards. And all these evidences go to point out that actually, by and large, there was a continuation in the policies of Akbar. The policy of Sulhul was followed. Now, for example, we know that under Jahangir, soon after his accession, the Ibadat Khana discussions did not end. The debates which had started at Fatehpur Sikri do not appear to have ended. अक्सर लोगों का ख्याल ये है कि Ibadat Khana was exclusively at Fatehpur Sikri. And when in 1585 Fatehpur Sikri was abandoned, Akbar went to Lahore, and from Lahore he returned back to Agra. The Ibadat Khana discussions ceased to be held. But that is actually wrong, because we have evidences that the primary sources, for example, in the Timma Akbarnama, Tatimma of the Akbarnama, as well as we have evidence in the Iqbalnama Jahangiri, that uh, at a time when Akbar was at Agra, Prince Salim, when he returned back, Akbar was informed that Prince Salim was given to intoxication. बहुत शराब वराब पीते हैं, ड्रग्स लेते हैं. Read to look. He tells you the quantities of alcohol and the alcoholic drinks which Jahangir was consuming in large quantities. So Akbar was informed कि शहजादे साहब जो हैं वो शराब में धुत रहते हैं. He is a debauch. So Akbar was very angry with Salim and did not allow him to enter the harem, enter the court, but asked that Prince Salim be quartered in the building of the Ibadat Khana at Agra. फिर वो 10 दिन 12 दिन रखे गए, और जब 10-12 दिन अकबर ने ये फिर देखा और अकबर को बताया गया कि शराब नहीं नोशी नहीं हो रही है, बिल्कुल अपराइटली रह रहे हैं, तब कहीं जाके अकबर ने इनको महल में आने की इजाजत दी. आई एम नॉट कंसर्न विद ऑल दैट थिंग. व्हाट माय कंसर्न इज दैट इवन एट आगरा फोर्ट there is this mention of Ibadat Khana being located. There were discussions, as I mentioned earlier when we were starting this lecture, that there is a source now available which gives the details of some of the Ibadat Khana discussions, nightly discussions which were taking place in such places. ये जो मजालिस जहांगीरी है, ये क्या है? ये इबादत खाना डिस्कशन है जहांगीर के पीरियड में. There are other accounts also. This is not the only account. There are other accounts also where there are debates of Jahangir on religious matters which are recorded. So the Ibadat Khana discussion, that discussion between the theologians of various sects and the emperor, continued. The policy of Akbar, that continued. And then, of course, along with that, we come to know that there is a statement of Jahangir himself, and that is that I am trying to follow the same policy which my father followed. And that policy was that in my father's reign, both Shias and Sunnis, people of different sects and faiths, would pray together. And I am continuing with that policy. Explicit statement. एक छोटी सी बुकलेट है, अंग्रेजी में भी है, हिंदी में भी है, उर्दू में भी है, बहुत सारी जो हिंदुस्तान की जो जबानें हैं उसमें भी ट्रांसलेट हो गई है. एपिसोड्स इन द लाइफ ऑफ अकबर, compiled by Professor Shirin Musfi. In fact, one of the last episodes which she mentions there is this fact that Jahangir tries to tell us what his father's religious views and policy was, and then claims that he is following the same type of policy, the same type of views which were being followed by his father. Now, I would end today with this first initial lecture on Jahangir, and tomorrow also we would deal with what happened during the period of Jahangir. There are certain controversies. आज मैंने सिर्फ एक कंट्रोवर्सी आपसे डील की है, जो कंट्रोवर्सी शेख अहमद सरिंदी से रिलेटेड है, द टाइम ऑफ एक्सेशन, कि क्या अकबर के जाते ही, जहांगीर के आते ही मजहब के हैंडल करने में मुगलों की पॉलिसी कुछ फ़र्क हो गई थी, क्या इस्लाम दोबारा से स्ट्रेंथन हो गया था, जहांगीर ने क्या हिंदुइज्म को नुकसान पहुंचाया था, इस्लाम को वो किया था। नेक्स्ट डे हम लोग कल इस चीज़ को उठाएंगे और देखेंगे कि अगर अकबर, यानी मैंने आपको अकबर का लेक्चर जब मैं दे रहा था, मैंने बताया था कि कहीं पे भी इस्लाम का नाम नहीं लिया गया, केश मोहम्मदी पुकारा जाता है, अबुल फजल इस्लाम नहीं पुकारता है, केश मोहम्मदी पुकारता है। और इसी तरह हम देखेंगे कि जो जहांगीर का नाम है, क्या नाम है जहांगीर का? नूरुद्दीन मोहम्मद जहांगीर। लेकिन जब बुजुर्ग को शुरू कर रहा है तो उस वक्त वो अपने को नूरुद्दीन जहांगीर पुकार रहा है, मोहम्मद का जिक्र नहीं कर रहा, नहीं कर रहा। दैट इज एन आर्गुमेंट which has been developed by M. Athar Ali. We would be starting with this argument tomorrow and try to see actually what type of policy towards religion, what type of approach towards religion was followed at the time when Jahangir comes to the throne. Thank you very much.